because in every slasher film that I love, there are those tropes of those characters. It's the innocent one, who's usually the final girl. There's the stoner or whatever, the skater, the punk kid, or then there's the jock and the cheerleader or the beauty queen, whatever you want to call her. Um, and I just always have a lot of fun with like seeing how those characters fit into the story of each slasher.
Hi, everyone. It's Dr. Andrew Rimby, aka Andrew. Thank you so much for listening to the Ivory Tower Boiler Room podcast. And before you hear today's episode, which I just know you're going to love, can you please do me a favor? And wherever you're listening, if it's Spotify or Apple, please rate and review us. Make sure you're following the podcast. Share it with friends, family, anyone you think would just love hearing this conversation. And you can watch our podcast on YouTube. Yes, we have a YouTube channel. It's called the Ivory Tower Boiler Room, and you'll see the video episode. So please make sure you like the video you're watching and comment. I always respond to the comments. Also, we have a Patreon. So if you don't want any of the ads and you want bonus material, join our Patreon. There's a 1 week free trial. It's patreon.com/Ivory Tower Boiler Room. And the free trial is for the professor level. Without further ado, here is today's exciting episode. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Ivory Tower Boiler Room. I am so excited to do one of my favorite passionate topics, all things horror, love slasher films. If you saw the new I Know What You Did Last Summer, which when this comes out, this is going to be around Halloween time. So
Okay.
hopefully you saw it, and I'm sure it's streaming by now.
Mhm.
Uh, I am so excited to talk with author Matthew R. Corr and singer and actor, make sure I give all the credit. So he was born and raised in New England. He always knew he was a city boy. So, of course, he moved to New York City at 18 and pursued his dreams studying at the American Musical and Dramatic Academy, where many incredible performers came from, including Maddie Brower, who I really like as an actress. And he earned a degree in musical theater. He's performed across the country. He is an author. He lives in Brooklyn with his boyfriend, his cat Logan, and their pug Finn. And I'm so excited to talk about his series called Slasherverse and just all things slasher films. So, welcome to the podcast, Matthew.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to talk about all this. I love it.
So, I guess we could start, before we get to I Know What You Did Last Summer, maybe like
Mhm.
backtracking, when do you remember your experience with horror? Like, was it through film? Was it through literature? A little bit of
Yeah.
both?
Yeah, it was definitely through film first, because ever since I was a kid, I've always loved movies. I think on my letterboxd, I have like close to 3,000 films I've seen in my life. Uh, and that's not including repeat watches as well. So I've always been a fan of film. And I remember the very first horror film that I saw in theaters is when I was 9 years old. My mom took me to see The Blair Witch Project,
Mm.
and I was terrified. Even though like really you see nothing in that movie, but that's what it's all about is it's the scary things are happening in the darkness, and that's what I was really afraid of. I was afraid of the dark as a kid, so that it really set me up, I think, to love horror. Even though I was scared out of my mind, I went home and then I was like obsessed. I was like, what other horror movies can I watch? Take me to Blockbuster. What else can we get that I can get into? And then it was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it was Halloween, the original Friday the 13th, all of those sort of granddads of slashers that I started to follow and fall in love with. So that's where it all started. Yeah, film for sure.
Well, and it's so interesting, like you being from New England, like talk about a gothic area, just
Hmm.
like Massachusetts specifically with Salem and
Yeah.
like the new film, The Witch. But you get your corny, campy hocus pocus and just
Hmm.
like practical magic, like all of those witchcraft type narratives. And like, did that also, like being from New England, did that have any kind of bearing with horror or those narratives?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, when you talk about Ed and Lorraine Warren and like, they had a lot of cases in New England and Connecticut, especially was like really haunted, and there's so many movies about that. And I was just telling someone recently, though, too, that a couple years ago, I stayed overnight in the actual Conjuring house that from the original movie, the family from the first movie, it was their original house that they lived in, and it's in Rhode Island, where I'm from. And I finally got to stay there overnight. I stayed with my boyfriend and some family members, and got to experience a little paranormal activity. So that was really fun. So yeah, I don't know. I think yeah, where you're from is deeply rooted. New England is deeply rooted in hauntings and horrors and ghosts and things, and I love all of that. I'm all into that.
I mean, I'm from South Jersey where the Jersey Devil's supposed to
Oh
live.
yes.
So,
Oh yes.
talk about woodsy and the,
Hmm.
what's in the dark. I always
Yeah.
find those. I'm so excited. There's actually, and I really hope it's a good film, but it's called Witchboard. Did you see that trailer? It's like,
No, I
okay,
haven't yet.
they like kind of in a way do a type of Ouija board, but it's not like a Ouija board. And they like resurrect a witch from like, I guess, a deep rooted mythology. So I'm kind of
Love it.
curious. I love um witchcraft narratives and
Hmm.
I love
Hmm.
paranormal. Like
Yeah.
The Conjuring. I can't wait for the new Conjuring. It looks
It looks so
really
good.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed the third one too. I mean, like all of those films, I think, have gotten just like a little better with each one.
Hmm.
I mean, nothing really beats the original, of course, like with the clapping scene, in the basement and that, like that's pretty iconic. But the films have just been really good over time as well. Love them.
Yeah. Wait, which is when does Annabelle, the evil doll, enter the picture? The possessed doll, I'll say, enter
Yeah,
the
yeah.
picture.
So I know she shows up in the first one because they do like a little kind of cold open, I think, of them finding the Annabelle doll, and I think you see them like take it into their basement and lock it away. And then yeah, I don't think Annabelle got her own movie until maybe like this after the second Conjuring film, or maybe in
Mhm.
between, I don't know. But yeah, I loved all of that stuff. And have you heard like that doll is now like on tour? Like they're touring that real doll around, and like weird shit has been happening. Like a tour manager died
Oh,
mysteriously.
yes.
Like it
Also,
is blowing
didn't
my
the
mind.
comedian Matt Rife, he like bought the
He
house? What
Yes,
which house did he buy?
he bought Ed and Lorraine Warren's house, like that has the basement with all of the, cursed items.
Wait, where is this?
I actually don't know where their original house is.
Oh no,
I,
I'd have to look it. I'm assuming it's in LA, but that's just me thinking. I don't
I
know.
don't know.
I'll look it up as we're discussing. But,
Mhm.
so do you think that like there's something so deeply psychological that talks like horrors about cultural anxieties and like
Mm.
things that we're afraid of in society. And like, whether it's that one film, my fiance loves it. And I do too. I think it's really good. The Devil, the one with the talk show. They're like,
Right.
there's like the devil takes over the talk show, and there's like these just off the wall possession that happens. What
Hmm.
is that
Hmm.
called again?
I don't
Oh,
remember. I know what you're.
Late night
There
with
you
the
go.
devil. There you go. I
Yes, yeah.
got it.
I have not watched it, but yes, I do know of it. I have not watched it yet.
Yeah. So like are you more into possession? Are you into exorcism? Are you into like traditional slasher? Like it seems like you have a certain genre you like to follow.
Yes, it's definitely slasher. Like of all there are many, many, many subgenres of horror, obviously, but slashers are definitely my favorite. And those were the movies that I sought out the most when I was younger. Like what other slasher movies can I find? Just because I loved the creativeness of like the kills, I guess you could say. Um, I just loved all of that stuff. Like, how can you come up with an exciting or fun way to off somebody, which in saying that out loud, it sounds a little a little insane, but
Mhm.
that's what I gravitated toward. And of course I love all horror and supernatural possession, ghosts, whatever it may be, monsters. But yeah, the slasher stuff, and for me, the gorier the better. So if there was more blood, then I was loving it even more.
Mm. Yeah, so you love the gore.
Love the gore. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Matt Rife bought the Monroe, Connecticut Occult Museum, which is the home of Ed and Lorraine Warren. Okay.
I knew it
So
was
it
Connecticut. It
seems
had to
like
be had to be New England.
something in Connecticut. But um so with slasher films, like I mean, let's start with maybe one of the most iconic, which is Halloween.
Hmm.
Um and like do you remember Mike Myers? Like what about Halloween for you was just really innovative? Like is there something from that franchise that has stayed with you like anytime you
Hmm.
watch Halloween?
Hmm. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, like when I was in high school, actually, I'll start here. When I was in high school, I was in a film class and we had to do a presentation about a film scene and like tell the class about it, the behind the scenes knowledge, all that stuff. And the film that I chose was the original 1978 Halloween because of the opening of that, you being in the point of view of young Michael, you see putting on the mask and you're grabbing the knife and just the continued tracking shot of going up the stairs until he eventually kills his sister was just brilliant to me. I'm like, We haven't really seen this anywhere else. I mean, I was young, so I hadn't seen a lot of anything else, but um, even still, I think it's very famous for that opening scene and just little tidbits of knowledge, like when we're seeing a hand that's not an actual kid's hand. That was the producer Deborah Hill, I think her name was,
Mm.
on camera, like doing all the hand stuff. So it was just her.
Ah,
But I remember just loving stuff like that, and they continued it into Halloween 2018, which I know we're talking about legacy sequels, and I know what you did last summer soon, so I think this ties in nicely. But I think, in my opinion, there hasn't been a better legacy sequel than Halloween 2018 because Halloween 1978 is just already so good and so perfect. And then to continue that 40 years later and like kind of retcon everything else, I loved that idea. And when Michael comes back to the town in the 2018 version, there's a tracking shot of a one shot of him just walking through like the back neighborhood and like going into people's houses. You see him kill someone with a hammer, and then he walks out and goes around another house and in the back, and you see her get killed through the window, and his reflection is just it's just all brilliant stuff that I
yeah,
like.
that
I
POV is so
Yes,
innovative. Like,
yes.
oh well, and Deborah Hill was from Haddonfield, New Jersey. I just love saying that
Oh,
information because
yes.
it's South Jersey, but like it's such a beautiful colonial town and
Hmm.
very similar to the way it looks Haddonfield looks, but it's
Hmm.
Illinois Haddonfield, which I still
Right.
think is because the Haddonfield, New Jersey is such an old town that they would have been really annoyed if they had chosen it and then like given them bad press. I mean, I think it
Uh-huh.
would have given them amazing press like Salem, but
Agreed,
whatever.
yeah.
You know, I would capitalize it on it if I were them.
Same.
So, but I think you're right. There's like even I love Halloween two's opening because I think it's amazing to actually have a sequel
Hmm.
begin where it left. Like it's literally
Yes, I
like
love that too.
we're starting right from where we left off, and
Hmm.
he's still in the town walking.
Yeah. And then yeah, switching all of it, like, and having all of it take place in the hospital too, like he's
Mhm.
still going after Laurie. And that was the scary thing about Michael Myers too, is that I didn't love the like brother sister whatever stuff. That's fine, but like I like that they retconned that because I do think Michael Myers is scarier as just an a faceless person. Like you don't know who it is. He has no connection to anybody. He's just psychotic and killing because he loves to kill people randomly. Like that to me is scarier than any other connection because you have
Yes.
no idea who it is or why they're doing it. They're just doing it.
I agree completely, Matt. And I think the only Halloween I'm like confused about, and I, talk about it with my fiance, is the season of the witch. Like,
Right.
I understand, or you might know this, is weren't they trying to do some kind of like anthology series where they were gonna like move
Yes.
away from Michael Myers and just like kind of do Halloween as like a genre of horror? Now that the fall season is here, you may be wondering, okay, I had all of these beach reads, Andrew, but now I don't know what books to read for the fall. Well, guess what? My friends at the Gay and Lesbian Review magazine have you covered. Their new September and October issue, called Forgotten Histories, features wonderful book recommendations, TV shows, and films that help excavate LGBTQ history. So, whether you're interested in learning more about the connection between shopping and the gay community, which, I have a Home Goods and Marshalls addiction, as my fiance knows. They got you covered there. They have an article about the attraction of Confederate gentlemen by the incredible writer Andrew Holleran. There's an article about the French evolution of sexual identities and even the first LGBT riot, which happened in 1953. Go over to glreview.org. You can get either a digital subscription or a print subscription. I love my print subscription, which I'm holding up right here. And with the exclusive code ITBR Choice, you will get a free issue with your subscription. So ITBR Choice, put that in the promo code section and get your hands on the Gay and Lesbian Review print or digital subscription. I know you're going to love their magazine.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Carvana lets you buy your next car on your terms. Explore a massive inventory online, filter for what matters, and find your perfect match. Then choose delivery to your home or pick it up at one of Carvana's iconic car vending machines. Every car also comes with a 7-day money-back guarantee, so you can make sure it's the right fit. Buy your car on Carvana. Delivery or pickup fees may apply. Limitations and exclusions may apply. See our 7-day return policy at Carvana.com.
Carvana.
Yeah, that was their goal, is to try something new with the anthology stuff, and hopefully each movie after that would be about something very different in the Halloween realm. But yeah, I think audiences were like, Michael Myers, they had already made Michael Myers so iconic, and like people loved him as a horror icon even back in the 80s, and they were like, what is this? What we're expecting Michael. Where's Michael? He's the best part.
Yes,
So
yes. And like I guess though we have to say maybe even before Michael Myers, it's Norman Bates in Psycho.
yes, I mean, if you're talking about like great granddaddies of
Yeah.
the slasher genre, it's definitely Norman Bates, and I would put even like Leatherface in there too,
Mm.
coming out in the early or mid 70s. But definitely Norman Bates started it all.
Well, that shower scene. But again, we don't like actually I might be wrong. Do we get a point of view from Norman Bates? Like we're following him, or is it always outside like you
Well,
seeing Norman in the
I think we get a little bit of everything because even in the shower scene, we see that point of view of the knife coming down onto uh I forget her name, Marion, maybe Crane, something like that. Um when she's
I was
in
gonna
the
say Jamie
shower,
Lee Curtis's mother,
her mom,
basically.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we do see those point of view shots, but it wasn't ever as extensive as Halloween did it.
Yeah. And even like House of Wax, like that to me is a really, I think it's such an interesting film.
I
Um,
love House of Wax,
I
and I
do.
love the remake. The
I
remake
love the
is
remake.
one of my guilty pleasures.
But what
Love
a
the.
creepy premise to have this
Mhm.
psychotic person, man, creating these wax figures out of real people. It's like, okay.
Yeah,
Um,
really awesome.
well, and it's kind of like interesting because before that, like the 1950s, I was rewatching The Haunting of Hill House. I was watching the
Mhm,
original, and it's that traditional like murder mystery, but it's a paranormal being, and it's like it's interesting for the time, but it's
mhm.
not necessarily. um a fast-paced narrative. Like
Mm,
everything kind of slowly progresses and
hmm.
like it to me is more of that Victorian kind of model of
Sure,
Dracula
yeah.
or
Yeah.
like it has that gothic sense. Like an
Mm.
Edgar Allan Poe story, right?
Yep,
Like
yep.
Mike Flanagan has really reinvented
Yes.
the gothic
Agreed.
American tradition. But
Agreed.
yeah, I mean, I know though you also are a lover of Friday the 13th. So
I am,
we
yeah.
have to talk about Friday the 13th. And, you know, are you a Friday the 13th one or a Friday the 13th two lover?
S- it's tough. I think one in the sense of the kind of twist ending that where you figure sorry people who haven't seen it, but this is like 40-year-old spoilers. It's his mother doing all the murder by the end, and you don't really see Jason until he kind of pops out of the water at the end of the first one. um so I don't know, like we keep talking about like iconic moments in horror, like the Friday the 13th part one, like you just can't beat it. All the other ones can't beat. I mean, I
They
know Jason
can't.
as a villain, and his mask is iconic, obviously, and he gets there. But that first one and like it's just so great. And I was going to talk about it. I won in an auction a signed Jason Voorhees New Jersey license plate. It's like in this whole it's framed in this thing, and it's signed by the kid, the first person to ever play Jason. Um, his name is Ari Lee. And he signed the thing, and there's this poster, and it's this whole framed thing that I love and cherish now. It's on my wall forever, and it says like Jason number one on it.
Oh,
So that's really cool to
okay.
have. So yeah, the first one for me, I think out of all of them, I mean, Jason X is a guilty pleasure, but the first one, nothing beats it.
Well, and I think what's fascinating about the first one is I agree with you. I think his mother being so um the psychotic episode she's having, like the line that I love to repeat is, I mean, I'll even my boyfriend will like try to freak me out and say it, but just the I think she says um mommy, oh, kill them, mommy. Is like
Mhm.
what she's saying, but it's like
Right.
in this trying to replicate her son's voice. It's
Yeah.
very
It's
unhinged. And
very layered. Yeah, layers of unhinged.
but she's also hilarious too. Like
Mhm.
there's so much campiness with her that
Absolutely.
it's like Friday the 13th is so campy, but it
Hmm.
like is so interesting the way that they go about it. I think as
Hmm.
a series. I mean, I would be more scared of Michael Myers than Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
Just because Michael Myers, he sneaks up on people in a way that
Yes.
I think I wouldn't be able to run away from him the way I could run from Jason. Like, Jason takes a long time
That's true.
to
He's a
get to
slow
you.
guy.
Well,
Yeah.
but I think Ghostface is even more frightening in Scream than even Michael Myers.
I was hoping we would get to Scream.
Yeah.
I wore my Scream
Ooh,
shirt.
I
It's
like
like
it.
horror movie club, and he's like holding a VHS. I love this shirt. I don't remember where I got it. Maybe like
I
a Hot
like it.
Topic somewhere.
Yeah, no, I just got from Walmart actually. They had a Scream. It says, "What's your favorite scary movie?" And I said,
Mm,
"I need this. Like,
yeah,
I need it."
brilliant.
But okay, so Scream, right? We're in the 90s now.
Mm.
And I mean, I guess we could mention Nightmare on Elm Street. Do you consider Nightmare on Elm Street Freddy Krueger? Is he a slasher killer?
Oh, absolutely. Like
Okay.
I think he's definitely a slasher killer, but they twisted it and made it its own thing with the whole dreams aspect of him.
Mm.
And I think that's really cool, and that's something we hadn't seen before in slashers. And being able to like bring him into the real world from the dream world, I think is always really cool and fun to play with. Definitely, and the glove is just iconic. Like out of all the slashers, when I was a kid, like I remember being Freddy Krueger for Halloween, and I had the glove and the hat and the this mask thing, and I was obsessed with that glove. Like I was wearing it all the time. Love Freddy. And he's also campy and funny too. Like the first one, he's pretty scary, and then as they go on, like he gets a lot more campy and flamboyant, even, which I love.
Yeah, he's like a comes becomes a gay iconic figure.
Yes, yeah. And the second film is just gay culture in general. Like I
Mm.
don't know if you've seen the documentary Scream Queen. It's all about Nightmare on Elm Street 2 and how gay it was, and the lead actor and how he was gay in real life and how it
Oh,
affected the rest of his life. It's so good.
I'm gonna watch it. No, that sounds great. And
Yeah.
I mean, something that I also like is the Nightmare on Elm Street. I love the first one. And I think
Mhm.
that also having Johnny Depp, his early role. Well,
Love that.
actually, there's a few really iconic actors
Kevin
who
Bacon
starred in
from
slasher films as their like first film,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And not
Yeah, we
just
got the
Johnny Depp.
yeah, there's Kevin Bacon in Friday the 13th. Obviously, Jamie Lee Curtis started in Halloween and that set her career up. I mean, even Nev Campbell, she was doing things like she was on Party of Five in the 90s, and she was this up and coming it girl, and I think Scream really skyrocketed her as well.
Yeah, like without Scream, would she have done or maybe at the same time, isn't she doing at the same time Wild Things, or I forget
Mm.
the genealogy, but it's
Yeah,
like,
she was doing a lot in the 90s. Like she was her and Jennifer Love Hewitt, like
oh
they were
yeah.
the 90s it girls.
Well, and Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Of course, like her being in I Know What You Did Last Summer and Scream 2, iconic.
Oh, Scream 2 is so interesting. And well, talk about also a notorious or a female killer who takes on notoriety. Is it Scream 2 where it's the female, the mother, or is
Yes, it's
that
Billy's mother in Scream
Billy's mother?
2 with
Yes.
one of the college kids as well.
Yes. And she like has this whole line about uh telling Gail that like you should get him like makeover or something. But it's just again, it's that it's even in Scream being in on the joke, but also being frightening. And it
Hmm.
does such a good balance. And I guess in a way, the craft, right? Nev Campbell and the craft is also very,
Hmm.
queer camp, but also serious. It
Yeah.
They're able to do both of these things at once. And I guess,
Hmm.
that leads us to I Know What You Did Last Summer, which,
Hmm.
who thought you would have such an iconic slasher film set during 4th of July?
I know, right? I'm surprised they didn't call it the 4th of July or something, like, to capitalize on the sort of the Halloween-esque, we're making another holiday horror film.
Yeah.
I wonder though, I haven't looked it up, but I wonder if that was ever in the cards for the film, if they were gonna call it
Mm.
something like 4th of July. I hadn't looked that up, but I did think about it while I was watching it.
Yeah. And I do want to mention too, I looked with Friday the 13th, like it being in Blairstown and that area with the camp. I also had read that at the end of Friday the 13th, the reason that they did the jump scare with Jason is because of Carrie's success with
Mm,
one of my favorite horror novels is Carrie,
yeah,
but
yeah,
also just that film and like the grave scene where Sue goes to Carrie's grave and then the
yep,
hand comes up,
love
which I'll
that.
definitely clip for social media because I showed it to my students when we were doing the Carrie Broadway musical, which
Love it.
I'm obsessed with that
Uh-huh.
history too.
Yep.
Um, and they were so freaked out. It was so fun. I love scaring them, Matt. But
That's the best. I would love scaring them too.
but I think that with I Know What You Did Last Summer, it's so interesting how it does these really interesting like caricature characters. Like you get the jock with Ryan Felipe, you get
Mhm.
like the more introverted Julie James, you get the prom queen like
Mhm.
Helen Shivers, and it like really does all these stock characters, but it also does something new with who the killer is and like why the killer is going after them. And like what do you remember about watching I Know What You Did Last Summer, the original?
What do I remember is Ryan Phillippe shirtless.
Oh, oh, his
No.
wrestling career
Uh,
or his exercising,
yeah, yeah. Him and the towel. No. Jokes aside.
which is replicated in the new one. Did you notice that kind of nod to the
Yes,
original?
there were a bunch of little parallels and nods to the original, which I did enjoy. Um, but going back to tropes though, like those character tropes, I love that shit. Like for
Hmm.
slashers especially, like I think character tropes are so important to the slasher genre. And finding a way to like make them new and refreshing is always really fun, which is what I tried to do in Camp 1985. I'm sure we'll get to that eventually.
Yes, yes, yes. His novel,
But
his novel. No,
yes, yes.
no, talk about it. Yeah, like how does how
I
does that make its way into your work?
yeah, yeah. Because in every slasher film that I love, there are those tropes of those characters. It's the innocent one, who's usually the final girl. There's the stoner or whatever, the skater, the punk kid, or then there's the jock and the cheerleader or the beauty queen, whatever you want to call her. Um, and I just always have a lot of fun with like seeing how those characters fit into the story of each slasher. And so when I had the idea for Camp 1985, the first book in the Slasherverse series, I knew that I wanted to play with those tropes as well, but sort of flip them to make them of the digital age, I guess you could say. So now the jock is the dancer on the TikTok-esque vibe, and the prom queen is now like the beauty makeup guru girl, and the innocent is now the girl who does her dog is the influencer, and or the stoner is now like the prankster of the TikTok age. So I tried to like do little parallels like that. The nerd is now the Twitch streamer, the gamer. So I had fun with like using those old like classic tropes and kind of flipping them to try to make them a little more modern to today.
Mm. And well, and I love that like flipping on the head the tropes. Like I think
Hmm.
that's what horror does so well is
Hmm.
right, you have tropes in romantic comedies, you have
Hmm.
tropes in drama, but sometimes right, romantic comedy it feeds into the tropes. If we put on a
Hmm.
Hallmark Christmas movie, we know, okay, uh a college girl comes back to her hometown and left the boy of her dreams and then reunites with
Yeah.
him even though they had a falling out, and then they
Yeah.
become best friends again and marry and have a child. Like it's just the script just writes itself.
Right.
And you know usually now it's going to like star either Lindsay Lohan or the actress, her other supporting actress from Mean Girls.
Right, right,
um
yes.
uh I'm losing Gretchen Wiener's name, but the Gretchen Wiener's
Yeah,
actress.
yeah, yeah. I know.
Um,
Yeah. She's there in so many.
yes, and I think though with I Know What You Did Last Summer and the new version, um, the nods are so important, and I think that's what I liked the most about the film
Hmm.
is like kind of what you do in your own slasher verse is like you pay homage but you make it new, and I think
Hmm.
they did a really good job paying homage but making it new to these teens, like making
Yes.
it their story, but it's also, well, we're going to make sure that we give the audience their legacy
Hmm.
um cameos,
Hmm. Hmm.
and like I'm thinking specifically what they do with Sarah Michelle Gellar, I think
Yes.
was really ingenious.
Yeah. So are we talking spoilers? Can we talk
Yeah,
spoilers or
yeah.
should we
So
keep
we'll
it?
just say
Okay.
right now we're talking spoilers. So if
Okay, yeah.
anyone hasn't seen
Spoiler
it,
alert.
like make sure you pause this and watch the film because we need to talk spoilers.
Okay, great. So yeah, that scene, I was wondering like how or if they're going to incorporate Sarah Michelle Gellar at all. Um, because she's so iconic in that role. And I was like, they have to do something. Because I loved seeing her on the t-shirt of was
Mm,
it the podcast girl Tyler was wearing it or someone was wearing it and
the
it had her
podcast,
face on it.
yes, the podcast girl.
Yeah, so that actually was my favorite part of it. The podcaster like loving the original story, like the original true crime sort of aspect of I Know What You Did Last Summer back in 1997. I loved that connection because I feel like that's something that I would write too, is like, the podcaster loving what happened originally and that brings her to the town. Like I thought that part was brilliant. And
Mhm.
even in the when I guess her whole kill really is an homage to the original, taking place in the same store, the bridal shop or whatever that store was. Um, and going up the elevator thing, like she's pulling herself up, and I was like, oh, okay, they're doing a callback, great.
Yes,
And
and
that whole connection, loved it.
yes, and like having also I thought the podcast was so wise, like to have someone who has this insider knowledge and
Hmm,
like is
hmm.
obsessed with it and
Yeah,
is going to teach Danica the inside information that she like no one from Southport in the young group cares. Like
yes,
they don't care about
yeah.
like how Southport was in the 90s this slasher horror story.
Hmm, hmm.
So like to have her revitalize that narrative, I thought was really interesting.
Same, yeah. I give that respect to the writers in that way because they can use that character as a device to sort of remind the audience and the characters, as you said, of what happened, and they can catch you up in that way. And I really liked using that character to do that.
Yeah, I the only thing that I have it wasn't an issue, but I have questions about is
Mhm.
just the whole like I feel that there's a lot left unsaid and I'm not sure if that's because they're waiting for the sequel to this, which I'm definitely think there's going to be something with having
Mhm.
Brandy at the end reunite
Loved.
with Jennifer Love Hewitt and like they're
Loved
like,
that.
"Okay, I
Yeah,
got
who are
you,
we hunting
girl.
down next? Yeah.
We're gonna do it," and which was incredible. I mean, I thought that was really exciting, but
Mhm.
I didn't get the whole like the pastor like with um the man who we're assuming dies in the car accident at the beginning. And
Yeah.
like in that car accident when I was rewatching the film, like I don't get why he tries to grab Teddy's coat and grab
Yeah.
instead of like wouldn't he be trying to get out the door?
Right, yeah. That's something I thought of too, is that I don't remember the jacket thing ever coming up again, which I guess Teddy's dad, he was an important higher up guy, like he could have covered up the jacket be his jacket being found. I get that part, but I was waiting for that to come back and it never did. And also I was thinking of that too, like just get out of the car, like nothing's happened yet, really. So I was like I think they would get off okay on this crime in this
Oh
one
yeah.
versus the 97 one where they straight up they hit the guy and they threw his body away. Like
Yeah.
I think in this new one I was like, "No, I think you guys would be okay." And but then the car goes over the thing and
Yeah. Well, this is where I kind of wonder like I have a theory, which is because we find out at the end that Ray is in cahoots
Mhm.
um with Stevie, yes.
Yep,
So
yep.
like Stevie works for Ray, like and Stevie's brother is supposed to be the one who died. Um
Yeah, it was like her friend from rehab or something.
oh no, sorry, friend from rehab. I keep thinking
Yeah,
it's her brother, but friend from rehab. Yeah.
which I didn't think that was a very strong connection. Like I think it took me like a rewatch to fully like understand it because I think when I first saw it, I was trying to piece together those connections that weren't really making sense on the first watch. But anyway, sorry, go on.
No, no. So I was just gonna say, so I feel like Stevie and Ray being in cahoots together,
Hmm.
I'm kind of curious, was the whole murder with the car a setup? And the guy who dies is actually already dead in the car, and is Ray the one in the car, and that's why he grabs the coat to like frighten him. And like, did Stevie message Ray and say like, okay, we're at the spot, like go with our plan? Like, was this kind of
Whoa.
already just like an established, we're going to
Okay.
terrorize the town? And you know, if you like watch back knowing Stevie is the killer, one of the
Yeah, yeah.
killers, she's always like awkward. Like she's
Hmm.
smiling when
Mm.
um the note is given at the bridal shower. Like she's always aware that something ominous is happening. So
Hmm.
like I feel that um we have a lot of answers that are left unsaid, and I'm really thinking that that's because they're going to tie up the whole Ray being
Okay.
involved in this. And I even thought,
Yeah.
is Ray in the first and second one, is he just protecting Julie James, and is he part of the murders? Now that the college semester has begun, you know that there are so many books that I can't wait to recommend to you all. Well, my favorite independent publisher, Broadview Press, has some incredible books that have just come out. One of them I'm actually using in my writing course. It's called Writing on Fire, a fierce yet friendly guide to writing humanities essays in college by Rachel Tukolsky. It is such an accessible and interesting book that includes writing exercises for your students. I highly recommend it. Another book that you should get your hands on, especially if you are a writing or English professor, is Academic Writing Now by David Starkey. It includes wonderful, popular essays, nonfiction essays that you can use in your classroom, and they cover a wide range of genres. I cannot wait to use them in my courses. And another book just in time for the Halloween season is Vampire Literature and Anthology, co-edited by Robin Warner and Elizabeth Lewis. I had both of them on the podcast, so listen to that episode because you're going to love all of the vampire literature we talk about. Use my exclusive promo code, go to broadviewpress.com and use the code Ivory Tower for 20% off your order. Yes, 20% off your order. Happy reading.
Hey there, it's Dr. Sanjay Gupta with some exciting news to share. CNN is now streaming. That means you can read, watch, and stream everything in one subscription. You can watch news live 24/7. You can also explore catch-up videos and explainer videos, and you can also watch a library of CNN's originals, including my latest documentary, It Doesn't Have to Hurt. Just go to cnn.com/all access.
Once upon a mundane morning, Barb's day got busy without warning. A realtor in need of an open house sign. No, 50 of them, and designed before 9.
My head hurts.
Any mighty tools to help with this plight? Aha! Barb made her move. She opened Canva and got in the groove.
Bulk creating Canva sheets. Create 50 signs fit for suburban streets.
Done in a click, all complete.
Sweet!
Now, imagine what your dreams can become when you put imagination to work at canva.com.
Are you a fan of classic Hollywood movies?
Are you a fan of queer cinema?
Then do we have the podcast for you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Christian Garcia.
And I'm Luke Del Mar.
And we are your hosts of That Old Gay Classic Cinema, where we take a look at some of the greatest films of all time and analyze them through a queer theoretical lens.
Let's be honest. LGBTQIA+ people have been a part of Hollywood since its inception, and this podcast celebrates those artists and entertainers of yesteryear while also taking a closer look at the queer-coded characters and stories in classic Hollywood films long before queer representation entered the mainstream.
So follow us down the road of classic cinema as we give you a guide to some of the films that touched our hearts, brains and even gave us courage to be ourselves.
You can listen to That Old Gay Classic Cinema wherever you get your podcasts, and be sure to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok.
All right, listeners, we're ready for our close-up.
Like,
Whoa. Yeah.
I have a hard time thinking that Ray all of a sudden had a psychotic break.
I
Like,
felt that way too. Like, because when he confessed it all, I was like, but in the first two, he was such a like a good guy, like I'm the good guy, like I'm gonna save you, and he always does, and he's always the guy that's there. And so I was like, this is kind of an intense flip, but I mean, it's been how many years? Like people do change over time. Obviously, like he was a high school, college age guy in the first two, and now he's well into, I don't know, late 40s, early 50s. So but that is a really interesting theory that he could have been involved all along because rewatching the first one too, when he's already on the boat at the end and when Julie doesn't really trust him to begin with, now you're making me think about his motives throughout the entire franchise. That's
well,
actually really fascinating.
and also to talk about something queer is the way that the town pastor, Judah,
Mm,
responds when he learns or talks about Sam who died,
yeah.
you know, is I was like thinking, were they lovers? Like, what's going on here? Because there's something that seems he
Yeah,
seems like very sentimental about this.
yes, sentimental is a great word because what I first thought was a familiar, like a maybe a father son or that type of relationship. But I mean, it could very well be. I mean, it is the church, you know.
That well, and then who is the woman who's like helping the pastor? And she reminded
Yeah.
me of Kimmy. Is it Kim Kepler or Kim? Who's the one from Full House? Whoever Kimmy is in Full House,
Oh,
like she
yeah, the neighbor. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, she gave me like very
yeah.
awkward.
Kimmy vibes. Yeah.
Like she also seems very suspicious.
Yeah, and she only had like that one scene, or well, like I don't remember her being in a lot of it. Just she says these little things here and there that are kind of like mysterious tidbits, and then she's gone. So yeah, I'm curious if they do a sequel to this, if they'll delve into like the church's involvement at all.
Yeah. Well, and do we ever actually see Sam's body?
That's another thing that I don't think so either. Because as soon as they said, "Oh, Teddy's dad is gonna cover it all up," then that's pretty much, I assume, what happened. So no one knew anything really. So
Well,
I don't
and then
know. I
like
Go
the
ahead.
question is Sam still alive? And is he
Yes.
gonna terrorize and take over as the Hook person?
So that's the thing in the sequel, then maybe he's the one who sent the next letter to Julie that she got, because he's still alive and now he's taking revenge for the people that took his revenge before.
Yeah, I think though it is like it's so the only thing I was thinking is why did Ryan Felipe not get any
Yeah,
like did he just
no,
not want to be part of this or do like
I
people
don't
not
know.
really like
I
care
I
about
would
him being in it?
I think he's a big part of the first one, not only for gay men
Yeah.
or queer men or queer people in general, because I do think that he was a lot of queer awakening for a lot of people. Um, I was curious if they would include him, but I just don't know how, because with Sarah Michelle Gellar being in the dream sequence, that whole sequence, if you think about it, was very different than the rest of the film.
Yeah.
Because the whole rest of the film, we don't get those fantasy vibes, those sort of like dream vibes. We only get it in that one scene, and it only happens that one time with that one character.
Yeah.
So I do think it is a little bit of an odd scene, but I do think it's a really nice callback to be able to see Sarah Michelle Gellar in that role.
Yeah, I agree. I wonder if they like had a talk about would Teddy in like the steam room. I
Oh,
thought maybe Ryan Felipe was gonna show up in the steam room as like a dream sequence.
you know what? I would have liked that, I think, because there would have been more through line with if we're doing a dream sequence thing. Like I think it would have been cool to yeah, to do both of those and have both of those parallels there.
Well, because like he sees all the guys leaving, and then he only sees like one man, like one guy left, and you only see his legs. And I was like, oh, it's
Mhm.
Ryan Philippe. But
They're
I
gonna
I
pan
thought that
up.
would have just been interesting. And
Yeah.
I also was like thinking, is Teddy cruising in the steam room? Like, what is
Yes,
going on
yes,
here?
yes.
I don't know. Definitely there's some homoeroticism. I mean, a
Oh,
steam room is
absolutely.
like homoerotic anyway. Uh,
Yes.
but yeah, I mean, I thought it was interesting to have Teddy be like the jock, and he's like, kind of taking on the Ryan Felipe character in the gym.
Hmm. Hmm.
But I mean, what did you think of just the first like kill is when Danica is taking a bath and she can't hear, and her whole bath bomb is red like blood, and
That
then
I loved
her
that shot.
husband is her fiance's like, being
Yeah,
uh
tortured pretty
murdered.
much.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, yeah, I loved honestly, it's my worst nightmare. Like in real life, like to the I can't even imagine the guilt that I would feel, which does go into Danica's character. Um, but worst nightmare. Like and then being having if I like come out of the shower and I find all of that and I have to see the person I love like that, it would ruin my entire life. So it was, I would be traumatized. And I really liked that opening kill and I liked the whole bath bomb shot, like you said. I thought that was really clever, really cool. But yeah, terrifying.
Yeah, the filming was really good, I thought. I thought
Yeah.
um having Julie James be a professor was interesting, like her psychological research and
Hmm.
all of that made sense. Um did you feel like Julie James had an interesting narrative? Like, did you think Jennifer Love Hewitt, like, the acting choices made sense? Or do you feel like we needed more from Julie James?
Yeah. I was just reading an interview with Jennifer Love Hewitt, and she said she didn't want to come back unless Julie had a substantial role. And which makes sense to me. I love that. But I do feel like in the finished film that I would have liked her to be included a little more.
Yeah.
I feel like she was very separated, which I understand from the character's viewpoint and the trauma that she's been through. It's very similar to Laurie Strode. Like she doesn't want to go back. Well, I mean, I guess Laurie Strode after 40 years, she, had her own things that are different. But
Yeah.
In Julie's case, she did not want to go back to Southport for that reason. And also us finding out that she married Ray and then they got divorced was another reason. Yeah, I don't want to go back and like see my ex. I like no. So I get it, but I did want her to be involved a little bit more, I think. I liked that
Well,
she was in the end and she played a whole part of the ending and but yeah, sorry, what were you gonna say?
oh, no, no. I was just going to say it's interesting because, like, unlike a Friday the 13th or a Halloween that has such a specific, the location is always
Mhm.
pretty set. Um, Scream isn't, right? Like, Scream, they're like,
They're all over the place.
going from like Northern California to LA to
Yeah.
like, New
New
York
York
City
City?
somehow.
Mhm.
you know, I feel like I Know What You Did Last Summer is interesting because the second one, it's almost like they're kind of teeing up that the second one was in the Caribbean.
Mhm.
And it's almost like, okay, so our Brandy, you know, and Jennifer Love Hewitt's characters, are they now gonna like end up in some European area, or like are they going on vacation? Like where are they going to be together? You
Yeah.
know?
I don't know. I really loved just I love thinking about the concept of it and I hope that they do something with Brandy because I feel like I've always loved Brandy and I've always loved her from I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Like to me she's just as much as a final girl even a horror icon and she's done other horror films in her career as well. um so I loved seeing her back and I would love to see those two back together doing something because them on the island I thought was brilliant. Like I love a sequel, of course, that stays in Haddonfield or stays in
Mhm.
Westview or wherever. Not Westview, that's MCU. Westboro, or
Oh yeah, 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 Westboro.
whatever. Is it Westboro? Where's Scream take place? Something like
Oh,
that. Something
Woodsboro,
Borough.
Woodsboro.
Woodsboro. There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
There
yeah.
you go. Woodsboro. Um, but at the same time, like I like when a sequel just wants to change the game. Like they want to change it up. They want to do something a little different. We're still in the same sort of sandbox, but we're just lifting up that sandbox and dropping it somewhere else. And so which is what I do in the Slasherverse as well. So when I Still Know What You Did Last Summer was on the island, I was like, this is so fun. It's such a great location to have a slasher. There's so much stuff you can do with it. Because I think in horror, a location and a setting is one, if not the most important part, besides like the killer and the final girl or final boy, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think the destination serves a purpose as well, and that's what I try to put into each slasher verse. I knew when I wanted to turn it into a series that I wanted to make each book its own sort of location. Because I loved that from the movies. And that's what I've done. And I think it keeps it fresh. It keeps it really fun to play with different elements. Like the first book is in a camp, obviously, it's very woodsy. And then the second one is 13,000 feet underwater, like in a research facility. So, those two worlds are very, very different.
Yeah, kind of like how Alien Romulus like is kind of sci-fi horror, right? Like it's
Mm-hmm.
technological, it's
Right.
they're alienated, right? Like alienation and isolation is a huge
Yes.
factor in horror.
Yes.
And I think that Scream is really interesting because the first one is alienated. Like um Casey, right? That's Drew Barrymore's character.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Is isolated, right? Like a house is
Hmm.
isolated, but then eventually you start to get them very um in populated areas, like with New York City. Like
Hmm.
the kill of the film professor. Like she's
Hmm.
surrounded by people,
Yeah.
but still somehow Ghostface manages to get her. I think though it's very like I wonder how you think about alienation or isolation in your slasher verse because I feel like now they're kind of playing around with you have some franchises that really thrive on they need that isolation, like The
Hmm.
Strangers
Hmm.
is a huge one, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like if there were people all around, I don't think um the torture would be happening like that.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
then you have like them playing around with Midsummer, which like
Hmm.
is this whole cult group thinking. So, how do you manage that in your own writing, Matt? Like how you're gonna isolate or put characters together.
Yeah. The thing that I thought about a lot is cell phones. So I was like, in today's world, if I want to make this grounded and, it's obviously not believable, but like, have some pieces of our real world and believability in there. Um, Everyone has cell phones, obviously, and the internet exists. So, that takes out a lot of uh problem solving, I guess, like from the past slasher films. Like everyone didn't have cell phones, so you couldn't just like call 911 as you're running away from a killer. So I thought about that a lot, and that's, I think, why I was drawn to more isolated locations for Slasherverse. Because in Camp 1985, it's a camp designed specifically to unplug, so they get their phones taken away, like so they don't have that issue. And then in book two, they're deep underwater, so the cell phones won't even work. There's no service. And then in number three, it's a snowstorm that knocks out the grid or whatever it is. So I always like to have a little bit of isolation, and because I think it just makes it more fun and it makes it more challenging for the characters. You're throwing challenges at them just by doing that, just by getting rid of cell phones. That's a challenge. Now,
That's true.
how do I
Or
get
like
to the outside world now?
yeah, or are the cell phones is technology going to be the horror? Like, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
they tried that with Y2K, which I didn't really like, but it was
Yes,
very over the
I,
top.
it was. I enjoyed it, yeah, but seeing some of those machines like come to life is pretty funny.
I mean, but I also think like with Scream and the film professor, they use the cell phone really well, like wisely. I
Yes,
think
yes.
that's a really interesting device. And there's a new film that I can't wait for. It's called American Sweatshop that like I'm getting like an early screener. So I'll on
Ooh,
social media
okay.
let everyone know about it, but it's with Lily Reinhart and
Okay.
she stars as this social media moderator. So like she's in a center where they're all watching gruesome videos to like take down from social
Oh
media.
gosh.
And so like
Yeah.
she watches a murder, like a snuff film on
Yeah.
someone's social media account. And I'm like,
Wow.
wow, that's really an interesting way to get at a murder is
Yeah.
through social media, which we
Yeah.
really haven't seen yet.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I feel like I don't know, but sometimes I feel like if they use social media, it can also come off really corny, like
Hmm.
TikTok videos just like appearing. And,
Yeah.
like I think it has to be grounded in reality.
Right,
Like
right.
but like in everyday real life, thankfully, knock on wood, we're not being terrorized by a slasher killer. But a lot of people, younger people especially, are being terrorized online on social
Yeah.
media. And it's
Yeah.
like, is that psychological trauma as deep as psychological trauma that Lori experiences, or, you know, um, any of these final girls or final, you know, actually, is there a series that features a final guy? I'm trying to
I,
think.
I, I, I don't really know. Yeah, no. The closest I could think of is Clown in a Cornfield, maybe, but even the queer characters in that weren't the main character,
Yeah.
but they did survive. Spoilers for people, sorry.
Yeah. But like, no, I don't know. Someone who's listening, like,
They'll
should take
figure it
up
out,
that
yeah.
research. Like, I'm curious if there is a final guy, but also, um, I feel like the final girl though is such a um is a gendered, like having a woman survive this. Well,
Mhm.
usually the men are the killers, which is why when there's a
Yeah,
female killer, we're really interested.
yeah,
But,
yeah.
to be survived from a psychopathic killer is fascinating with a young woman.
Mhm.
Maybe. I don't know if that's the rationale, but yeah. Okay. Well, holding all that, I guess like going back to the question is, do you feel like the psychological horror is equal? Like the bullying, like whether it's a Carrie narrative or
Yeah,
what Lori experiences in Halloween.
yeah.
Like, are these similar?
I think so. I think it's just the next generation of trauma and how it works. Because those people that maybe back then were stalkers or peeping toms or whatever are just now lifted into the digital space, and you can still do all of those things. You can still stalk somebody or peep on somebody, whatever, online. Maybe it's just gotten easier, which is scary to say.
Yeah.
Because with the digital age came, doxing, which is something that I talk about in the Slasherverse as well. Like people can get your information like that, and that's what's really scary. Like it used to be so much harder, obviously, when everyone was in a phone book or whatever it may have been, a Rolodex, I don't know. But now with everyone's social media and places getting tagged of where they are in real time, like if you have a stalker, that could be so easy, I assume, to find someone, and that's
Yeah.
that's really scary.
It's frightening. Well, and also how much psychologically weight do you put into these trolls on social media, right? Like I feel like you could do a deep dive and really um terrorize yourself by like reading comments, or right, like it's
Mm,
also
true, yeah,
how much are you putting behind
right.
and investing time in these spaces.
True, yeah, yeah. I guess, yeah, when it comes to things like comments or bullying in that sort of way, I guess a part of it is you don't have to look at it, but I don't know, like it's there's something just in the back of your head. Like I relate it to like reviews. Like if it's a bad review, like I'm still gonna read it and I still want to like know what people think, even though it might not be the best thing. But yeah, as an actor though, I have a thicker skin, I think, than most with rejection and things like that in my past. But I don't know. Even if it's a bad review, I'm still gonna read it. I'm still gonna want to know like what people thought. So I guess
Well,
there's that aspect.
some actors say don't read any reviews. Or
Yes,
right,
yes,
or even
yes.
they're like, never look at any comment, which okay.
Uh-huh.
I mean, when it comes to like my teaching reviews, I look once in a while, but I'm not like, well, first of
Obsessing
all,
over
I
it.
don't have the bandwidth to do it all, which, you know, is one thing. But
Yeah.
also, yeah, if it's like something where I know I'm gonna learn, like I'm
Mhm.
learning new methods, usually my students tell me that in emails one on one. So it's
Yep,
like it
yep.
just depends on yeah, it depends on what I want to get out of that experience, right?
Yes,
And
exactly. Yeah.
like I'm curious though, you know, as we wrap up, Matt, have you ever acted in a horror themed play or musical?
I have actually.
Okay.
Um
Yeah, what was
the
that
only
experience?
the I loved it so much. So this was about it's over 10 years ago. There used to be a theater on in Times Square on 42nd Street and 8th. It's now a smash burger,
Yes, I know where
unfortunately.
that is. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so the
It has like a
marquee.
cool marquee. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that used to be a theater, an off-Broadway house. And there was a magician that was playing there from like, and it was all very like dark themed. Like there was like a year-round haunted house attraction that you could
Yes.
go through.
Okay.
And so they had an off-Broadway house there as well. And so there was this play that I auditioned for. I can't remember, it's awful. I'm not remembering the name of it, but it was like a 4D horror experience.
Okay.
And so the play was about which I eventually got cast in and I was playing like one of the leads. It was a small cast of like six, but it was essentially about this mad like scientist murderer guy luring people into his house to then like pick apart and do experiments on. But it was a 4D experience, which is what made it really cool because like say for example like the guy would cut me like on the arm or whatever and then in the audience it would like spray a little bit of water so like they would feel the blood like coming. It was things
Mhm.
like that, like it was just little things that made it a really cool experience. And like I got to work with like a lot of cool set stuff that like things were rattling on their own or books were being thrown off the shelves, like all like awesome technical stuff. There was a scene where I was being tortured. The guy was like drilling into my leg, and like there was like a really big like blood pack underneath. So as soon as he would like put it in, the blood would like come spurting out. And it was, I had such a blast.
Yeah.
That was a really fun time. But it didn't go that long. It was only like a couple months run, and like not a lot of people saw it, even though we were right there in Times Square. But I loved that whole experience, to
Yeah,
be
like I
honest.
always wish there were more horror gothic themed musicals on Broadway, but I think
Hmm.
I mean you have Little Shop of Horrors off Broadway,
Right.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I feel like here wait, can you hear the workers outside? Someone's like
No.
okay, good. The
Nope,
land the
they're
land
good.
lawns there's like lawnscaping. Okay. But like I guess there's not a lot I'm assuming of horror and gothic on Broadway because they have to like keep that audience year round.
Yeah.
Would
I mean,
maybe
this
be my guess.
Stranger Things though is kind of
Oh
stepping
yeah.
into that space, which is really cool. And I've seen Bat Boy is coming back. Do you know Bat Boy the
Oh, Bat Boy,
musical?
yes, with Carrie Butler.
Yes, yes. Which I played Bat Boy as well in a regional
Oh.
production in Massachusetts, and that was really fun. I guess that would be another horror-esque thing that I have done, but definitely not as much horror as the play. But yeah, I would love to see more horror on Broadway, like or horror musicals in general. I just like the technical stuff. Like I want to see the blood, like I want to see all the practical effects, and I
Yeah.
love all of that and how it works, and it's just so
Like I
fun.
always wanted them to bring Dracula back.
Mm.
Like I know that there has been Dracula, but it never really like
Yeah,
had a
I
long
know.
stay.
Yeah, I remember back in high school, I watched some sort of Dracula production in the UK. It was online that I stumbled upon, and like it was strange. There was a lot of blood, which was great, but it was a strange little musical. I don't know. I would love to see it come to Broadway
I
though.
mean, I think they should do Hocus Pocus. I don't
Oh
know
my
why that hasn't
God.
happened, but
Right?
it would
What? Like
it
that
would do so well. It
it
really
would
would.
do very well. I know there's like a drag version of it in the city that comes back every year
Yeah.
with Jay Armstrong.
Oh, yes,
He's yeah, he's
yeah.
a Broadway actor and he does it every year. But I don't know, it's more of like a concert version, I think. Like I want to see, yeah, like a fully formed stage production. I think that would be really fun.
Yeah. Well, there you go. A Hocus Pocus musical. But Matt, how can everyone get their hands on Slasherverse plus all of your other books? Matt has a lot of other genres. And
Uh,
how can they follow you too on social media?
Yeah, across social media, Matthew R. Corr, Corr spelled Corr. Matthew R. Corr across all social media, TikTok, Instagram, everything. You can find me there. And you can find all my books on Amazon. I have another series that's like a coming of age young adult series that has two books. And then, of course, the Slasherverse series that's going to be a total of seven books. I'm working on the fourth right now. So yeah, you can find all of those on Amazon as well in every format, including audio.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Matt. This was such a pleasure. I love everything horror. So
Yeah,
what
honestly,
fun. What
this was a
fun.
blast. Yeah, I love talking about this stuff. So I'd come back anytime if you want me
Yes, please. When your new book
to.
comes out, we have a
Yeah,
lot of horror films coming out this year. So,
true, true. Yeah.
maybe
I
not on Broadway, but horror films they are
Yeah, we got
definitely
them.
box office hits right now.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Such a wonderful time, Matt.
Yeah, thanks for having me. See ya.